In this video, I'm going to finish off Objective 2, which states to evaluate the sum of a series. Alright? In the previous video, I evaluated the sum of an arithmetic series. So now I have to show you and get to show you how to find the sum of a geometric series, which just looks a little bit different because the series formula for geometric series is a bit different than arithmetic. So it's still the same process, still following the same steps. So I'm going to scroll up and reference those steps in red every now and again. And the first step states, determine if it's arithmetic or geometric. Well, I kind of made that pretty obvious. I am indeed going to determine that it's geometric. I'll still show you my math because it won't be that straightforward to you on a test. And so my first step then is to determine if it's geometric or arithmetic. And again, just looking at number 6, the problem I'm going to do for you, the numbers go up pretty quickly. It goes from 3 to a 12 to a 48 to a 192. So that is the first clue or hint that this could be geometric instead of arithmetic. But again, the process to find that is to take the second term. I need to see if it's a common ratio. So second term divided by the first term. Negative 12 divided by 3 is a negative 4. To check that work, let's jump to the third term, which is 48 divided by negative 12, which indeed is also negative 4. So I've determined that this is geometric, and I have found that R, my common ratio, is negative 4. So I'm done with step 1. Step 2 is also the same process. Step 2 states, find the unknowns of the formula. So in this case, I have to reference the formula for geometric sum, which is right over here. We're going to use this formula now, which is a little bit different than arithmetic formula. So the geometric sum, I'll write it down by my work to reference it, is S of n equals a sub 1 times 1 minus r raised to the n all over parenthesis 1 minus r. So if you notice, there's actually a little bit less work to do for a geometric sum. And I know that to be true because in this formula right here, I don't see any a sub n's, which means I don't have to find the explicit formula which will tell me my a sub n. So I don't have to do this step right here. I can bypass that step and just identify all the key pieces of information that are going into this formula and then solve the formula itself. So in this case, I need to find a sub 1, I need to find n, and I need to find r. And, convenient enough, I've already found all of those. I just have to identify them now. My a sub 1 is the first term listed, 3. My n is given to me, 7. So this is saying, in this series, I want to find the sum of the first 7 terms listed. All right? And then r, I already found in step 1, is negative 4. So I'm done with step 2. Don't have to do step 3 because I've already found all the pieces of information that I need. So I can jump then to step 4, inputting all of these into the formula and then simplifying the formula. S of n equals my a sub 1, which is 3, times 1 minus my r, which is a negative 4. Remember, anytime that your r or your d is negative, please put it in parentheses, especially if it has a power with it. In this case, it does. My n, which is 7. So negative 4 raised to the 7th, all over, and close the parenthesis, and it's all over 1 minus a negative 4. Close that parenthesis. Alright, so I've done step 4. Now I have to do this math. Now, with this, it is a little bit picky of how you enter this into your calculator. You can do this a couple different ways. You can simplify the numerator first. So I will do that. I will punch in 3 parentheses, 1 minus, another parenthesis, negative 4, close the parenthesis around that, raise to the 7th, and then close the beginning parenthesis. And I got S of n equals 49,155 divided by Now I can hit divided by on my calculator. 1, but I have to put it in parentheses. 1 minus a negative 4. And I get, I'm going to write this out, 1 minus a negative 4. And I get for my final answer 9,831. And that is my final answer. Alright, so that's one way to do it. You can simplify the numerator and then divide it by the denominator. And I tried to show my work or my thought process as best as possible. I simplified the numerator, wrote my answer, and then if I'm going to divide 49,155 by my denominator of 1 minus a negative 4, I just have to make sure that I put 1 minus a negative 4 in parentheses to get 9,831. So please at this time try to punch that in your calculator, step 4, in a capacity to where you understand so that you can arrive at the answer of 9,831. And at this time, will you pause the video as well so you can try number 5 on your own to check your understanding. You should have paused the video to try number 5 on your own. This is my work, so please check your work with mine to see if you've been able to understand this and do this correctly. Step 1, I determined it was geometric and I found the common ratio to be 2. Step 2, I identified all my key pieces of information that I needed to input into my geometric series formula. And step 4 is doing that. I inputted my ace of 1, which is negative 4. I inputted my r, which is 2, and my n, which is 8. And then, divided it by 1 minus r, which is 2. Now, again, the calculator process might trip some people up, and that's fine. If you got to this point completely fine, and you were able to input everything into the formula exactly how you see it there, that's great. Now, the answer is 10,020. There's a couple different ways you can go about this. In your calculator, if you entered in negative 4, parenthesis, 1 minus 2 to the 8th, close that parenthesis, then hit divide. All you have to do is put the divisor, or the bottom, the denominator, in parentheses on your calculator. If you type your calculator in just like this, like I wrote in red, that should give you the correct answer of 1020. And again, if you did not get that, please check with a neighbor and then raise your hand if they don't know, and I will come check your work. At this point, you are ready to complete 8 more problems with the goal of mastery of 8 out of 8. Finding or evaluating a series.